I already know this is gonna terrify me. All right, let's get started.
You've probably heard me say that I'd rather eat 10 pounds of Popeye's biscuits with no drink than ever go out into the ocean. Well,
same.
I'd rather ride cross-country on a bike with a hot grill for a seat than spend half a second in the deep sea. There's a lot of living
I disagree. I
nightmares
can
and
handle half a
paralysis
second.
demons come to life if you sink deep enough. And the
that a
megalodon?
Is that a beluga whale? That looks like a beluga whale. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, whales are creepy. They're too smart.
One of them. You'll often hear this thing about how the prehistoric apex predator never got discontinued. It's just chilling a step above hell in the abyss.
That's false.
This is cap. For actually three good reasons. One, there just isn't enough food to sustain a 60-foot you to the natural order.
You're fine.
Two, if nature did keep the same jumbo jaws that peaked in the Pliocene, we at least would have seen a body by now. And number three, why do y'all want this to be alive so bad? I promise you there's way worse things down there. Like, I would evacuate my bowels if I ever saw a giga great white shark. But put me in front of a T-posing squid and I'm shitting more bricks than the entire city of Newark. The big fin squid is easily one of the most disturbing things alive.
I know that's the camera. I know that that's the camera doing that, but it makes my brain think this thing is instant transmission, doing instant transmission left and right. Oh, it makes me think this thing is super fast. I don't like it. I don't like this.
It's a T-posing predator with arms estimated to max out at just under 30 feet. Scientists believe the big fin catches bodies by dragging those arms, which can be easily 20 times its own body length, along the ocean floor like trawling nets and feeding on whatever poor soul.
Is the ocean where the Loch Ness Monster is? No, that thing's confined to the...
Or we think a lot, and that's because we don't know a whole lot about them. Almost every sighting and virtually every specimen studied were either juveniles or paralarvae. We have no way of knowing exactly what their final form could look like. For all we know, this could be Junior, and we just haven't seen Mama Big Fin yet. Who would have thought that just putting elbows on a squid would instantly turn it into the spawn of Satan? Oh, and if you thought the Big Fin was just this slow, passive floating predator, then you're seriously underestimating the ocean's ability to massacre your mental health. And if you're curious, this video was taken about 7,000 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico. But considering they're believed to be the deepest living squids at about 20,000 feet, I have a theory. This is a juvenile, and the big boys are the ones shacking it up down in the crotch of the ocean. But good news, the big fin probably only feeds on small fish and crustaceans. Bad news, there are squids big enough to beef with the biggest predators on the planet. And the biggest predator on the planet that isn't a disgraced former YouTuber
sperm whale
is the sperm whale.
There it is.
Which on its own would have to be one of the most...
There it is. Oh my god. Because, okay, wait, the sperm whale eats giant squids. And we know that because when they come up, we see like they have like little marks from the fight. They have them inside of their stomachs. They have the claw thingies inside their suction cups inside of them and everything. And it's in pitch darkness. They like the sperm whales are like, I'm hungry. And it just goes way down deep into the ocean and into utter darkness and then picks a fight with the giant calamari. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. Ooh, it's awful. We've only explored 20% of the ocean, yet we've explored 100% of space. I don't know about that. I don't think we've explored 100% of space. Pretty sure we haven't. But we know a lot about space compared to the ocean. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. The Great Loch Ness Monster is connected to the ocean via miles of underwater tunnel. That is terrifying. All right, Rock, we might be
most traumatizing things to witness during their 2-hour
expedition
hunting
Jesus
down in the...
Oh, fuck. Oh, I unpaused and paused at the worst time. Oh, that is... I don't like the ocean. That's too big of a thing to be near. Oh, God.
Deep sea. Well, the tankiest carnivore on Earth regularly runs fades with the giant squid. And by giant, we're talking about calamari growing to an estimated 40 feet long. Not only are they themselves predators that hunt using 20-foot tentacles, they're opportunistic cannibals that would 100% murk their entire family reunion for some calories. Now, nature high-key screwed up their character design. They have a donut-shaped brain and an esophagus running through it, meaning if they swallow something big enough, not only do they run the risk of choking to a flatline, they can also factory reset their entire personality through severe brain damage. Which is why they mitigate this by shredding their victims with a razor-sharp beak and what is essentially a tongue with teeth, the radula. That beak is such a way.
Fun fact about that tongue though, Cats have a similar type of stuff on their tongue. Obviously not as prominent, but it helps break up food. Yeah, cats have that too.
Weapon that you'll rarely see a sperm whale that hasn't been tattooed during a struggle with a giant squid. And while the plus-size cephalopod usually loses in a war with the whale, they do not make it easy. But the most disturbing thing about them is that eye. Giant squids have the most physically imposing eye in nature, with it being roughly the size of a soccer ball. Contrary to popular belief, huge eyes don't exactly help it see further, but it does mean they're terrifyingly good at noticing objects giving off their own light, which is a lifesaver since when their biggest optosperm whale is on the hunt, modern-day Leviathan disturbs glowing creatures like jellyfish and crustaceans who flash in response. Having eyes as big as our heads means the giant squid can detect and use those flashes to avoid becoming a corpse. But that also means that if you ever go swimming in the Giga Squid's area code, the flashes you'd create mean that while you might not see it, the same animal that does its own kind dirty would know exactly where you are. And honestly, there's only one thing that could be worse than getting stalked by a school bus sized
Why is it
There's
losing
another
skin?
squid with hunting tactics so
Why is it that like every time I see a giant squid, you know, that's alive, any videos of like a live big squid, why does it always look like it's decomposing? They shed? Do they shed? Oh, I guess, wait, they're cephalopods, right? They have their shell on the inside. Maybe, is that why? Wait, do they do that? It just always looks like they're dying.
So spiritually upsetting, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and use a lifeline.
The Humbl Squid, also known as the Red Devil. I'm Lindsay, by the way. Hi. Humbl Squid are found in the eastern Pacific Ocean, typically between 600 to 2,300 feet below the surface of the ocean. And their nickname comes from the way they use their pigment cells called chromatophores to communicate. You're probably familiar with chromatophores through videos of different cephalopods using them to
Cuddlefish.
change color, blending into their surroundings, and even dreaming. And Humbl Squid notably use them to turn bright red when they're aggravated, hence the nickname Red Devil. It's very on brand. They're also extremely predatory and have been known to act aggressively towards scuba divers on rare occasion, which becomes a bit more terrifying when I tell you that they can get to 8 feet long and 100 pounds. Now you might be thinking, Lindsay, that is not that big. What about the giant squid and the colossal squid that can both get to like 40 feet long? Well, I haven't told you the best part yet. The Humbl Squid is known to live and hunt in groups of up to 10, no, up to 100, no, 1,000, yes, in groups of over 1,000.
Fuck that. We need to nuke the ocean. We need to fuck it. We need to leave Earth, okay? This is Elon Musk was right. You know, we need to go to Mars. Let's figure that thing out. Like everyone's like, "Oh, if we can terraform a planet, why don't we just fix the problems we have on Earth?" No, because the problems are animals. There's those things. Those things exist. No. We terraform Mars and we leave. And we just take the animals that aren't terrifying. No. I don't. Nope. To nuke the ocean, that'll create Godzilla. You know, at least then we can have a fun live action movie.
1,000.
No, Elon Musk is an idiot. That I was being sarcastic.
990 too many if you ask me. While hunting in these groups, they use their chromatophores to communicate with each other, coordinating movements and attacks, allowing them to take down larger prey, dragging them into the depths until they go unconscious. Scientists have identified some of these communication patterns, as you can see in this little chart, but still don't know exactly what any of them mean. But regardless, that sounds like...
Alright, okay, hang on.
Patterns, as you can see in this little chart, but...
Okay, can anyone actually read that? I gotta be brutally honest. When you say, as you can see in this little chart, make sure that I can actually see in this little chart because I'm on HD. I have no idea what any of those say. I don't. I think that guy's name is Montenegro. So I can't read that. I'm trying to read it. I can't.
But still don't know exactly what any of them mean. But regardless, that sounds like one of the worst ways to be unalived in the ocean. Oh wait, this isn't a TikTok collaboration. That sounds like one of the worst ways to die in the ocean.
So as now demonetized. Whether it's being confronted by a Humboldt block party or squaring up with a live-action kraken, there are many aspects of the deep sea that end up with you putting your therapist up a tax bracket. And a lot of that's because of this cute little thing known as deep sea gigantism. The idea that the cold temperature, the dissolved oxygen, and the lack of pressure from predators allow some animals to escalate to the biggest and most terrifying versions of themselves. Exhibit A, the Japanese spider crab, which can measure 12 feet across from claw to claw.
I'm gonna be honest, crabs don't scare me. Crabs, until a crab gets to the human size, they don't scare me. They're slow. Like these crabs, those are slow. Those don't scare me or anything like that. I'm okay with crabs. Those don't scare me. I think crabs are cool, especially since everything evolves into a crab. Crabs killed Amelia Earhart? Well, we don't. That's a theory. I think is the theory that the crabs killed her, or is it that she died and the crabs ate her? Like the coconut crabs just ate her dead body. But I think crabs are pretty cool. We're all gonna evolve into crabs one day. So, you know.
And weigh as much as a human toddler. Only thing worse than a giant spider crab is a giant crab spider. This is an Antarctic sea spider, a dinner plate sized demon spawn that hunts by sucking the life out of its prey through its proboscis. Now technically, they're not actual spiders.
Yeah.
But also I imagine most people watching technically don't give a especially since this one looks like it identifies as a face hugger. Then there's a giant isopod, which is essentially an aquatic cockroach.
Does everyone remember when the giant isopod was a meme? Dude, look at him. There were memes of people like, here, have this, and then they hand him a giant isopod. Oh, I love the giant isopod. See, if there's one thing that makes something not scary is when it gets turned into a meme. If this thing was a meme, I can't be scared of it anymore.
Big enough to be cradled like a baby. No clue why you would though.
Aww.
And if you're looking for a truly super-sized animal crossing, the oarfish should be on your list. The giant oarfish can grow to well over 30 feet long.
I don't like it.
There have even been claims of those in the neighborhood of 50 feet. Proof that back in the day when we had stories about sea monsters, they weren't lying, they just didn't have all the names yet. Also, if you caught that pun earlier, we're friends now. But with deep sea gigantism and the endless expansive ocean acting as a canvas for shakedown and the practice's art,
I've made videos and I always reference it.
There be monsters. For example, this isn't an animal. It's a group of animals joined.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a real-life Cthulhian monster. I thought that was a Lovecraftian deity who were horrors beyond our imagination that was found in 1991. Oh, God. That is... I don't... Like, this looks like it's like Shub-Niggurath or something like that. Isn't that what it's called or something? I don't like this. This is... Oh, I don't care if it's
something like a hive mind. So we're not talking about it. We're talking about them.
It's a hive?
Like this come in many forms. Like the Portuguese man of war armed with venom to ensure that the excruciating experience of meeting one is permanently etched into your brain. And there's a Priodubia, a giant siphonophore that can flex a total length of up to 160 feet. And even though it's a collective group of tiny animals, its length could humble a blue whale, making it technically the longest creature on the planet. Or at best, a modest second.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
The ribbon worm has been reported to reach 180 feet in length. And it's toxic because the ocean, and of course it is, with nasty smelling mucus potent enough to life deprive the crabs it likes to eat. Like I said, whether it's Lucifer's tapeworm or a flying spaghetti creature, there be monsters. And it gets so much worse than a giant worm. Because as terrifying as the deep sea is, it's also nasty. And there might not be anything more repulsive than the hagfish. This loogie linguini feeds on the rotting corpses and carcasses that sink down into its domain. And since they don't have any actual teeth, the graveyard guppy feeds by sliding into an opening and eating the decomposing body from the inside out. And you would think that's something that eats like a casket.
See, this would be terrifying if it ate something alive from the inside out. When is he going to talk about that fish that becomes a, or not that fish, that isopod thing that becomes a fish's tongue? When's he going to talk about that one? When are they going to talk about that one?
Wouldn't have to worry about getting put on a plate itself. Again, you're giving the ocean too much credit. As self-defense, the hagfish will sweat buckets of slime, a phlegm jacket that's thick enough to clog the gills of anything hungry enough to F around and unlucky enough to find out. To the point where this is the end game of a truck transporting hagfish on the highway, crashing. Now, you've definitely seen this picture before, but have you ever stopped and asked yourself what they were doing there in the first place? You remember how I said nothing that eats like a hagfish should ever have to worry about getting eaten? Well, simple. For these hagfish, their final destination were dinner plates.
Many of these deep-sea creatures are actually able to come closer to the surface, if not fully to the surface than they do. But don't be, because vibrations from modern boat engines and propeller blades drives them away.
Okay, so we need to keep using propellers. Don't ever stop using propeller blades. Got it. Okay, thank you, Patches. That is good to know. I want us to never stop annoying the top of the ocean, because I want those critters to stay in the deep ocean. Also, why does it look like me when I see a woman's ankles for the first time? Why is this on screen? God,
to South Korea, where they're considered a delicacy. Now, I'm not one to judge other cultures,
Why would
but
you eat
we seem to have a
hum
habit of
worms?
constantly trying to eat all the things nature went out of its way to tell us not to. But one thing you won't see as a main course is something ironically named after a fruit. The sea cucumber is like the hagfish in that its meal prep consists of all the things we normally flush, burn, or bury. All the soul evacuated bodies that sink down to the ocean floor instantly get put on the cucumber's grocery list. It's a literal bottom feeder, and I mean that since they'll also make a meal out of feces. But like with vultures, if Thanos had beef with sea cucumbers, the world would become an infinitely more disgusting place. That's not the only way sea cucumbers contribute to society. They're also often used as a protective bunker for fish, and well,
I know where this is coming. The fish goes in its butthole. The fish goes in what we would consider to be its butthole. Sometimes they have worms inside of its butt, and it's a symbiotic relationship.
let's just say they break in through the back door. Oh yeah, it's a violation of the highest natural order. It gets worse when a pearlfish decides to have a playdate right next to its prostate. I don't even know if they have a prostate, but you get what I mean.
I bet
If
they
that
love
makes
it.
you uncomfortable,
They're freaky.
here's an ad to give you time to mentally prepare for what's next. This adorable little guy is known as a basket star. It's a type of brittle
what?
star and an echinoderm, which actually makes it a close cousin of the sea cucumber. If you ever learned about fractals in geometry, then that's why the repeating pattern of branching arms might look familiar. It's also why the US is really wasting $20 billion a year looking into space, because the real ET is happening right here. Because of the unsightly way basket stars get from A to B, they've also earned the nickname sea snakes. I feel itchy all of a sudden. However, even though it looks like something Lucifer would use to pleasure himself, they eat mostly zooplankton and are pretty much harmless
they're
for
just
the most
they're,
part.
yeah, they
And
just
honestly,
grab on.
that pretty much describes
debris.
80% of the nonsense in the deep sea, only really harmful to your peace of mind. Like take the Frill Shark. Having been around for 80-something million years, not only is the Frill Shark a living fossil, it's like
God, this doesn't look real. This doesn't. Thank you, Chowder. This doesn't. If you showed me this when I was younger, I would assume that this is a mock-up of a puppet. This looks like someone's hand inside of a sock, right? Right? The eyes look like they are painted on. I don't believe this.
likely nature's rough draft beta version of sharks today. Also, don't let this video fool you. They can grow to a respectable 6 feet long. Also, they can be pregnant for 3.5 years, which honestly makes about as much sense as everything else down there. And in terms of your mental health, the Frill Shark is pretty harmless. Until you look them in the mouth. The devil's fleshlight has hundreds of needle-like teeth to ensure that anything that gets caught in there doesn't get a second chance to pursue happiness. And for a shark that's been around long enough to have attended Saturn's wedding, I don't know why, but every picture of them looks like they're struggling with their own existence.
Yeah.
Like I said though, they're not a threat to humans. But like I also said, therapy ain't cheap, so if you don't want to end up on a couch, don't look a Frill Shark in the mouth. But yeah, you'd be surprised at just how many types of sharks you'll find in the same neighborhood SpongeBob got stranded in that one time. You have 20-foot sleeper sharks that are somehow able to use stealth to just spawn and inhale sustenance like a water Kirby. Speaking of sleepers, in 2015, a Pacific sleeper was recorded in the Solomons Island. Why is that important? Well, its home address was right under an active volcano, proving that if any animal had plot armor, it'd be sharks. Then you have the ghost shark, which, okay, yep, you got me, isn't an actual shark, it's a close cousin known as a chimera. The ghost part though, that's on brand. They kind of remind me of the dry bones fish from Mario. The ghost otter shark doesn't even have the teeth you'd expect it to have, but instead they have plates that they use to grind up food.
Why is
but since
it-
nature's constantly
Okay, why are all these ones looking like they're mechanical and it's like having exhaust fumes? Why? Why? Like, look right there. It doesn't look like it's real. The inside of this is tiny evil scientists using this as like a mechanical monster. It's biomechanical. What the scientists are messing with us. Scientists are like, let's just make some mechanical monsters and let's just put them in frame and then we're gonna trick everybody into thinking they're real. That's all this is. That's what they're doing.
even have the teeth you'd expect it to have, but instead they have plates that they use to grind up food. But since nature's constantly overcompensating, chimeras do have venomous spines that are harmful to more than just your mental well-being. But by far the weirdest thing about them, chimeras have a tenaculum on their forehead. A tenaculum is a reproductive organ, meaning this fish has a... Yeah, on his forehead. Venom and that aside, this fish fresh out of Tim Burton's Wet Dream is actually pretty cool looking. And I'm just gonna say it.
Wait,
I
but
think
why?
they're cute, and I'm perfectly fine with standing on that hill alone. However, I don't think you'll find a single soul on this next shark's hill.
Feast your eyes on the Goblin
There
Shark.
it is, the Goblin Shark.
dog-looking fish with
I've everyone. I knew this guy was gonna make a list. I knew it as soon as they started talking about sharks. I was like, the Goblin Shark's gonna be on there. This is the one that shoots out its jaw like a xenomorph. Oh, I know this one. So, like, if I'm not mistaken, the reason that it will shoot out its mouth is it will get an extra little bit of distance on its prey. So it's like, oh, I gotcha. So it's kind of a sneak attack type of thing. Also, because of the sudden movement of it, it makes it so that it's a little bit easier to grab its prey. Because grabbing things in the ocean sometimes, you got to be careful because you might push it away by just your momentum itself. So this kind of extradites that as an issue by being like, hey, I love it. I honestly, this guy's gross, but I love how it's created. I love how it's created. It has to compete with its nose to reach the prey. Yeah, it's always in a race with its nose, which probably has a lot of sensory organs inside of it, or sensory nerves to be able to detect bioelectricity or whatever the heck it's called.
With a mouth that snaps like nobody's business. They're rarely seen, but are known to live in oceans all around the world, at depths of up to 4,200 feet below the surface of the ocean, and are estimated to get to 18 feet long, which is really big for a deep sea shark. You might have seen videos online of their jaws just fully ejecting from their brain case in a process called slingshot feeding. It's kind of what they're known for. Their upper and lower jaws lunge forward away from the skull, engulfing their prey. I know it probably seems ridiculous and almost alien, but it's actually not uncommon. Most fishes have jaws that aren't entirely attached. One might argue that the Goblin Shark is the most extreme example of this look, until you see a video of the sling jaw wrasse, who use suction feeding to snatch up their prey. They look like they have a trombone stuck in their mouth. Goblin sharks have a particularly long snout, and it's not for nothing. They have sensory structures, pores all over it that help them locate their prey, like squid, fish, and crustaceans. And I am personally grateful I am not a squid, fish, or crustacean.
Yeah, goblin's the right word for the only shark in the world with a receding gum line. But you gotta admit, yeeting your own jaw to catch calories is pretty metal, and you're gonna find that a lot of the creatures rolling in it deep have evolved some of the most creative ways of bagging groceries. Probably the most popular is the fish that nearly turned Nemo into an orphan. The anglerfish has two defining personality traits, and one of them is that fishing lure hanging right in front of those life cans.
Okay, I'm gonna call it right now. He's going to talk about how the male anglerfish will literally attach itself to the bottom of the female anglerfish, because that's a female. And then it literally just gets absorbed into the body of the female, and all that's left is his genitals, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what happens.
Canceling jaws. That light actually comes from bioluminescent bacteria shacking up inside a modified fin. So when a bite-sized light work swims up to the light thinking it just cops some easy protein, the angler ensures that some fish out there never sees its father again. The other thing anglerfish got clout for is their mating habits. I'm not gonna get into it, just know that if your marriage looks anything like theirs, you're gonna need both a divorce and a restraining order. And you know what? Intensive therapy on top of that, expeditiously. Nemo's paralysis demon isn't the only deep sea creature to weaponize light. This distinguished gentleman is known as the Stoplight loosejaw, and his defining trait is that it uses a red light to hunt, which turns out to be a massive cheat code, since the longer the wavelength of a color, the less energy that wavelength has, and the faster it gets absorbed by water. And since the color red has the longest wavelength out of all of them, it's the first one to get absorbed. This is why red light can't reach the deep sea, and the animals living in the abyss that are red actually appear black, which makes it easier for them to hide from predatory smoke. But with the stoplight using red as a searchlight, it's pretty much cracked at this version of hide and seek. Not to mention, since most of the life down there can't even see red, it's able to catch bodies while also not giving up its location to predators or the prey it packs up.
That's really
this fish
smart.
really evolved a whole wall hack and a real-life invisibility cloak. Tell me that ain't crazy. And that freakish overbite ensures that once prey is found, it's lost forever. But why hunt prey when you could just sit and wait for it to come to you? That's the entire playbook for the deep sea lizardfish. Just look at that smile. You know he's on nefarious timing. And at over 2 feet long, they earned the title of being one of the premier apex predators of the deep sea.
Why does it look like it has lips over there? Like right over on the left. It's got big kissable lips right there. Man.
As a habitual camper,
oh, never mind, those are not kissable lips.
Before they lunge and use hypodermic needles for teeth to cancel it. Now with apex standing for anyone
now it looks like a
smoke
kissable pair of lips again.
Lizardfish don't hesitate to turn their own kind into coffin fodder. And with the whole point of those teeth being to hold struggling, panicking prey in place, they make sure they don't live long enough to learn from their mistake. But as much of a therapy build as Gecko Guppy's mugshot might be, it might not even be the worst headshot in the ocean. Not as long as this is still a factor. I was wondering when this guy was going to make an appearance too.
I would. Many say this is a face only a mother could love. Well, then maybe he is my son. This is the deep sea telescope fish, one of the most stunning creatures of the deep tropical oceans. They're found at depths of about 1,600 to 6,600 feet below the surface of the ocean. I can't say that normally. Surface of the ocean. And like you'll see if you look up photos of them online, they are often photographed at unfortunate angles that don't do them any justice. They orient themselves
there is no
upwards,
good angle
hanging
for
out
them.
vertically in the water column, as they use their specially adapted eyes to hunt for the silhouettes of their prey. There are two species of telescope fish, Gigantura indica and Gigantura chuni. Don't be fooled by their genus name, which makes them sound like they're gigantic. That is not the case at all. Indica only gets to about 8 inches long and chuni a measly 6. They are just little guys. Gigantura actually translates to big tail, specifically. They are about half tail. But if they happen to latch onto a snack that's a bit bigger than their own size, that's no problem at all. They underwent a series of skeletal reductions that allow for more room to just fold it in half. That's right. They are expert folders. In 1925, scientists found a 5.5-inch long viperfish inside the stomach of a 3-inch long telescope fish. They described it as neatly folded, an incredible quality possessed by the lovely telescope fish.
Yeah, I'm sure if we gave it Blistex and a hairline restoration surgery, he'd be cute, but that's just me. That being said, there's a lot of pretty dope things just chilling in the deep. Take the barrel-eyed fish, the fish with a transparent
yep,
head
you can
that
just see
means
its
it can
brain
spot
and
ops
eyes
or
and
prey
everything,
directly above it, thanks to those two green gummy-looking orbs that are actually its eyes. Or the ultra-rare giant phantom jellyfish, equipped
This
with 30
thing, okay, spoilers for what is it called? Nope. I think what's that movie that was made by like Nope, or made by the guy who made Nope or something like that, where there's like an alien in up above them in the desert or whatever. It looks like that alien. I can't remember the name of the movie. But I wanted to say Don't Look Up, but that's not it. But this looks like that alien in that one movie that was either called Nope or is made by the same guy who made Nope. And it's honestly, he looks kind of cozy. I don't know why. It looks kind of cozy.
30-foot arms that makes this ET understudy the length of a whale shark. And when I say rare, I mean this jelly's only been seen
it looks like
100
Gene
times in
Jack.
the history
That's
of
the name of the
mankind. So the
alien.
fact that you're watching this right now is kind of wild. Then you have the deep sea Dumbo octopus that copes with stress
There's
by
the
turning
Dumbo
itself into a
octopus.
ball to discourage predators from eating it. And if this right here looks familiar, yeah, right to his thighs. The vampire squid does the inverse, as they'll turn themselves inside out and into their own personal panic room whenever they're pressed by a possible predator. And how about a sea pig for you?
I love
Take
the
everything
sea
I said about
pig.
sea cucumbers and forget it for a second, because honestly, they're just really cute in a way I can't fully explain.
Yeah, I love the sea
But it's not hard
pig.
to see what makes this squid instant serotonin. Rosia pacifica, or the stubby squid,
Wait,
is
show the
actually
full
more
video
like a
of this.
cuddlefish. It's also a cuddly fish, and it's nature's apology letter for the sheer
Okay, I wish I could find it. Like this video where they discover this, the scientists are having the scientists are just having a laughing fit when they pan the camera and they find this one squid, because he just looks like oh, he does show it at the end? Oh,
It's
thank
actually
God.
more like a cuddlefish. It's also a cuddly fish, and it's nature's apology letter for the sheer trauma it saturated the ocean with. It's actually real, and those arts and crafts looking eyes help it catch prey on a nocturnal schedule. It's also important as an environmental indicator, since scientists will often study their responses to changes in water pH and use that to determine how polluted the water is around them, which you would think would earn this anime octopus the respect of the scientific community. Well, you'd be wrong. There's a video where some scientists found one, and let me just say, not even Hiroshima got roasted that hard. But that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you go ahead and drink water, hug your moms, go subscribe to Lindsay's channel, link will be in the description. Shout out to Lindsay for being in this video, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
It's like
There it is.
like Davy
They
Jones.
look like googly eyes.
Hey, look,
they
he just
painted
painted
off.
them on.
He's like, oh, they found me.
Yeah.
He's just stage fright.
So some other aerobic team just came before and just left it here.
It's like some little kid dropped their toy.
Trash.
Oh
man.
He's awesome though.
He is awesome.
that's a good focus right there.
Seriously, what's
Great
with his
focus,
eyes?
Justin.
It's freaking me out.
I want to see
He
him
just
move.
had stage
Do
fright.
something.
Flash her lights.
He's unwavering. I love him. I love him. I love him. Or her, whatever it is. It looks high as fuck. It looks scared. It's like, I wasn't prepared for I didn't put my makeup on. I didn't put my makeup on. You caught me without my makeup. Oh. So, yeah. The light might burn his retinas off. He was like, oh, God. He was in an intense staring contest. That's what it was. But thank y'all for watching this with me. Thank y'all. Thank you for the recommendation over on YouTube. If I put this up there, I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. go check out his channel and everything. Also like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada, all that stuff, and come by the Discord and the live streams on YouTube or Twitch. But until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and stay awesome, y'all.